Welcome back, everybody. So here we go. We're going to jump back into some TinkerCAD Part 2. All right, when I last left you, you were learning about kind of the basic tools and the interface here of TinkerCAD. So a couple more things that we have available are, we're going to take this object. When you click on an object in TinkerCAD, you're like, oh man, there's all these arrows and whatnot and boxes that pop up. So those are helpful for manipulating your object. So if I click on this white box that's on kind of the top center of the object, I can actually raise and lower it. You see that number change? So that changes the size of the object in millimeters. Let's say you're not super clear, like, oh man, how much is 30 millimeters, right? So let's say your mind is more in inches, like, you know, in America, that tends to be what we think about in terms of measurement. So in the bottom right corner, if I click this edit grid button, I can change to inches and I can update the grid. So now when I click on this, it actually will show me what it is in inches. And then it'll go in different fractions. So I can go to a half an inch, I can go to 1 inch, and everything in between. You'll notice when I move it, it wants to snap to certain sizes, especially this way. So if I go down one snap, it goes to 7/8 of an inch. Go down one more, it goes to 3/4 of an inch. So in the bottom right corner as well, there's an option called snap grid. So I can turn it off, I can change it to a smaller fraction. You know, so maybe I would do like 1/16, or I'll just turn it off. But you know, if you're not getting, if you can't do the adjustments you need to, remember you can always change the fraction to be smaller, or you can turn it off. So if I turn it off, it's going to let me do any number. So I could do like 0.814, right? Just random numbers. Same thing for these other directions. So if I click on this object and I click and drag any of these other, we'll call them handles, I can resize the object. I can do it, make it skinny, I can make it fat. You know, the corner objects allow me to change kind of like those 2 dimensions like this. Whereas if I choose like one of these black ones on the side, it'll only change it in one direction. That's helpful if you just want to change like the length of something, but not change like the width of it accidentally. And then the other objects we have are these kind of like half circle arrows. So if I hover over them, you see they kind of bring up like a angle circular grid. So if I click on it, I can actually click and drag my objects. So I can rotate it. So when I rotate things, you know, like when you want it to be kind of flat, you want to rotate it in terms of 90 degrees or so. So that's why it looks flat against the blue work plane right now. The other button I just was kind of playing with without introducing is this black caret. So this is our up and down positional button. So right now I'm at zero height off the work plane. So if I bring this up, you can kind of see, I zoom in, you can see there's a gap there now. And if I click on it, it'll tell me what that is. So let's see, it kind of looks like a half pipe. So I'm going to roll with it. We're going to make a skateboard ramp. Okay, let's see what else we got. So if we want to move this guy around on the work plane, all you do is click on kind of the red solid area. Now, if you accidentally click on like the black or the white bars, you'll accidentally make it bigger or smaller, right? So you just got, when you want to move stuff around, make sure you're just clicking on kind of the solid color area. Let's say we want to put a block up here to start a skateboard, right? What I can do is I could throw a block out here, right? And then I could like resize it and then raise it up, right? That's like a whole lot of extra steps. You could do that, but there's a simpler way. If I click on this work plane tool here, now it's wanting me to choose a face, like anything. So see how it snaps to any of those? So I can use any kind of surface, but I want to use this one. So if I click there, it actually puts like a temporary work plane up top. So now watch what happens when I throw a block out. It doesn't pop up on the bottom anymore. It pops up in my temporary work plane. So that is kind of handy. Let's make our skateboard a different color. Okay. Put this guy out here. All right, so we got that board there. Now let's throw some wheels on this thing. We're just gonna do it very simple. All right, so I'm gonna shrink this guy and I'm gonna shrink it really uniformly. So if you hold the shift button on your keyboard and I drag these handles, you'll see it actually shrinks all together. If I go back, hit undo, and I just drag the handle, see it just shrinks just the one dimension. So if you hold shift, you can shrink things uniformly together. So that's kind of helpful. All right. So let's say I want to rotate. So I'm zooming in to kind of get a better view, but let's say I'm out here and I want to look in there closer. I can actually click on this fit view to selected shape button over here under the house on the left, and it will zoom in so I can better look at that object. I'm going to rotate this guy so he's laying the other direction. And we're going to set him there on the other side. All right. Now let's say I want to make a copy of this guy. So if I click on him, I can actually go up here, go copy, paste. There it is. Now if I use the arrow key on my keyboard, well, that's going to take forever. But you can see I can move it slowly. It's slowly moving. I have the snap grid off, so that's why it's like taking forever. So I'll turn the snap grid back on, see how it moves a lot quicker. As fine as I want though. There we go. I'm going to copy both of these now because I'm going to duplicate both together. So I'm going to select them both, click on this button, copy, click on this button, paste. And then I'm going to use the arrow keys to kind of put them back there. All right, we're going to have a kind of a square skateboard. Maybe I'll put a circle on the front of it. So let's throw a cylinder out here, shrink this guy down. So now let's say I want to line this circle up with this, the main part of the skateboard. So I'm going to go to a top view by clicking on my navigation bar up here in the top left, so I can like get a better view of it. And I can hold and shrink these guys like that. Then I'll rotate again, right? Maybe I want to go to a right view here so I can look at it from the side and I'm way off, so I can raise it up. Something like that. I can make it bigger. See what this thing is. So I want to make sure that these are the exact same size. So what I can do is I can click on this height and it gives me a number. So I can type 0.1 on there. Let's make that an even number. And then this guy, let's do the same thing. We're going to make this guy 0.1. Whoops. 0.1. There we go. So let's bring this guy up. All right. We're running into issue with the snap grid. So I'm going to turn that off again in the bottom right corner so that I can kind of move this guy how I want it. Use the arrow keys left and right to kind of fine tune it. We'll shrink this guy a little bit, shrink this guy a little bit. We'll just call that good for now. So I'm going to hold shift and select the board, and then I'm going to group those two together and, sort of get a skateboard. It doesn't have to be perfect. So if I notice this guy, they're not connected to the wheels. So I can actually hold shift and I'm going to select all those guys as well. And we'll just group them. Now, if I go back here and I do multicolor, it doesn't really do anything there because I didn't really set the colors to be different. So never mind. Well, every good skateboard needs a person on it, right? So on the right side where I have basic shapes, there's an option called characters, and there's a little robot looking dude that I can throw on here. So let's throw this guy out here, Astrobot. Oh, two of them. So I'm going to click on him and I'm going to hold shift so that I can shrink him down a little bit. And then I'm going to rotate him this way, 90 degrees, and I'm going to set him up here. So now I have my little skateboard guy. All right, so let's say we want to get rid of this work plane. We're like, I want to start adding some stuff down there now. So if I click on the work plane tool and just kind of click off into, the vast white background, it'll go away. So now when I drag a block down, I could add somebody that's watching my skateboarder. I'll change him to a different color. We'll add some diversity to our dudes. There we go, a couple different guys. So there we go. We have our really crude skate park that I did not intend to make. Yeah, that'll do it for now. Stay tuned for another lesson, and I'll go over some more tools in TinkerCAD. Thanks. Bye.